We're focusing on the future of the high street, and I hope you've got some great questions to ask our panellists.
As a shopper, when you leave your house in the morning, think, well, should I go into a busy town where I'm not going to find parking, probably end up getting a ticket, or should I go to the out-of-town development where I've got free parking and it's a lot more convenient?
14.5% of shops are empty. 3 years ago, it was a third of that. Well, clearly, we're all going to hell, aren't we? The interesting thing about it is the way it is horribly misread, because not all town centres and high streets are dead by any means. We had John Humphreys on the Today programme a couple of weeks ago saying, of course, we've lost all our small shops. No, we haven't. Look in the local data company's database and you can find several 100,000 of them. More interestingly, we had Suzanne Moore in The Guardian saying, many of our town centres have lost a third of their shops or more. If she put the word too in front of it, so it was too many of our town centres, I might have agreed with her. But actually, if you do look at that database to find out how many of our town centres have got a third of their shops empty or not, it's 6.
Is there a future for the high street? Going back to the original question, undoubtedly yes. And that is because it will continue to be reinvented and so on.
In the last 3 years, we've pretty much tripled in size. At the beginning of the recession, we had 55 stores. As of Friday, we'll have 152 stores. And that's all happened in the last three and a half years.
The White Company, for instance, July reported 22% increase in sales. We've all seen the phenomenal growth and success of businesses like Supergroup. So I think there is room for a plural high street. Yes, there is categorisation of merchandise out there. We're all aware of how the top 4 supermarket operators are broadening their product ranges and really working the footfall that they generate into the stores. But equally, I think there are customers out there who want a specialist service, who value a different product, are perhaps prepared to pay a little more as long as the whole value proposition matches up.
We actually think that there are 3 big things going on in the high street. Parking, which everyone bitches and moans about. Property, in terms of rates and business, rents and business rates. And planning. And hey, that's all up in the air now, isn't it, with the consultation going on the new planning policy framework by October the 17th. Got to get that right, because otherwise the phrase town centre first could easily just be, unless it's mildly inconvenient, in which case, wherever you like.
When I go down high streets and I'm looking at new store sites, I often feel that I'm the one who's going to revitalise that part of the high street, because we take over an ex-Woolworths. It's been sitting empty for two years. All the shops next to it have gone under because there's nobody going to that part. And hopefully by us opening a store there, we can regenerate that part. But I just hope there are more players like us out there.
Shops have actually been taken out of commission and they've been turned into dwellings. But reurbanisation really helps towns. I mean, that's a move we've seen, for example, if you go down the road here to Uxbridge, what were office blocks are now blocks of flats, bringing people back into town centres and actually bringing them close to their transport system and so forth.
There are still other types of more service-orientated stores, appearing, more coffee shops, more, even get daycare centres on the high street now. So there are other opportunities, and apparently the UK is heading towards a more service industry. So I can see some of those shops being converted that way.
Trying to encourage that plurality across the offer in terms of retail is very important if town centres and retail communities are going to continue to encourage customers to come and shop with them. The issues about planning and what we want town centres and high streets to look like are also about communities, aren't they? It's not just about jobs, it's about what do we want our town centres to look like in terms of servicing the community as a whole. So I think Michael's brought into sharp relief a range of issues that need to be considered. At the root of this, back to Nigel's points in his workshop earlier, his talk earlier, is this issue about community, and that's ultimately about people. What do we want as communities across our country?
We asked consumers what they expected in a town centre, and we gave them a list of things they might tick, and on average people tick 20 things. And it included a library and a pub and restaurants and food shops and non-food shops, and it included a pawnbroker and other service-based things, including tattoo parlours. They were quite popular, no reason to be sniffy about them, service-based industry stuff, and you can't easily get a tattoo over the internet.
Actually, at the end of the day, it's about the people. and it's about those people we employ within our stores. And still, as it stands at the moment, most of the sales come from bricks and mortar. Yeah, we know that obviously internet sales are going up, and we talk about multi-channel and so on and so forth, but most of our retail sales come from high streets. And I worry sometimes that the focus goes away from that all-important person, and those are employees. And of course I'm going to say that as leading Retail Trust, and I'm going to come back to that and say, do we do enough with our own people? And I don't believe we do. I think we're focusing so much on all the systems and processes that are out there, and all the new technologies, and a multi-channel strategy, where actually people will walk along the high street and look in the window and say, is this somewhere where I want to shop?